Hi all, today we're going to be making an upside down fire. We're going to go through the process of making the fire, the good points about it, the bad points about it, and I'm going to be doing something of an experiment or comparison towards the end of the video as well, so stick around for that. First thing we've got to do is go and get some suitable wood, so let's go do that. For this type of fire, you'll want to find a source of nice dry wood and a fair amount of it too. For that, what I usually look for is a good dead standing tree. And we have one here, and you can usually identify these by the fact that you'll have all this bark missing off it and falling off pretty much the whole way up. Size wise, I can find the highest one I can, and at the bottom you want it to be maybe just about a fist and a half in diameter at the bottom. And that should give you all the wood you need for that fire. But we'll get started, we'll get this thing cut down. Now that the tree's cut down, it's just a matter of chopping it up into suitable sizes, just around about a 4 arms length. Yeah, from your closed fist to your elbow. So from the end of your closed fist to your elbow, do 4 or 5 of those. And when you have the tree here like this, you're always as well to just lop off those wee branches that are sticking out. It's kind of easier to do it at this point. So that's the next step. Get it processed, get it cut up. So I have the first 4 cut there now, and generally what you want for your first kind of layer here, keep cutting them the same size until you're able to form somewhat of a square. So roughly around about a square. Now as I say, the size of these isn't too important. It just depends on the size of the fire you want. For a 1 person sized fire or a camp sized fire, that length there is perfectly adequate. So the next 4 logs now, I'm just going to cut them pretty much the same size, and then I'm going to crisscross them, and that'll give me a nice base. And then I'll start kind of maybe reducing them in just a slight little bit. So that's the next 4 now I have cut for the next layer. These will just crisscross perpendicular to the first layer. I will start now reducing the size in. This second layer here, I didn't reduce it in very much at all, if any. But the next one now I will start reducing in. So that's another layer cut now. And you'll find this is the hardest part of this fire, is processing this wood. Initially finding that dead standing tree and then processing it into these logs. Which brings me on to a point of occasions when this fire makes sense. If you're in a situation where you need to get heated up, you need to get heated up quick, where you're very cold, you need to get heated up, this is a very good fire for that. Firstly, cutting this wood, getting it processed to make the fire in the first place will heat you up immensely, because you've got to get it all done before you even start the fire. By the time you finish cutting, you'll be well heated up in the first place. These fires then, once you light them, it'll burn extremely hot, much hotter than your normal campfire that you would light from the bottom up. And as I say, getting it prepared in the first place will get heated up as well. Once you get this done, plain sailing from there. And you'll find the more you do this, the quicker you get at it. It actually is less work in the long run doing this type of fire than your normal fire. And these fires should be good for to burn for around about 2 hours. I find my experience. You might push it out 3, depending on how big you really, how wet, how dry the wood is as well, and the type of wood. This is softwood, this is spruce. So I imagine, I haven't tried it with hardwood, but I would be pretty sure that hardwood's going to last that bit longer as well. But generally, you're going to get a minimum of 2 hours out of this anyway once it gets going. So that's it all processed down now. All cut, that's all the hard work done. Well, apart from the fact that I need to transport this wood now up to where I'm making this fire. I'm not going to light it here. It'll be a bit too close to other dead standing trees here to light this now. I've cut that down right to the very tip of that tree. There's absolutely nothing going to waste. We'll use these as kindling. We'll kind of split these down a bit, use them as kindling, and just light that on top there. That's why it's called the upside down fire. Light it on the top and it works its way down. So anyway, now for that final top layer of sticks, I would generally split those in two and then create a nice flat bed of dry stick. Also make sure at this stage you have a nice wee bundle of sticks ready to go that you can throw on top of this to get it going. So I have a nice wee bunch of sticks here, have them ready to go, and also some dry branches from the tree as well. So you're just lighting this up the same as you would any other fire really at this point. Just make sure you've got the driest, your very driest and smallest sticks to get the fire going initially. And the hope is then that once this starts, you'll be able to leave it and not have to tend to it really at all. You want to be aware too with this fire is, as I mentioned before, about the spacing between each log. The tighter you have those together, the less air can rush up through the fire. And as you know, more air means more oxygen, and more oxygen means a hotter burning fire. If your wood's very dry, my general rule is just to keep these all as tightly packed as I can and minimise the space between them. Now, I did mention earlier on in the video that I would talk about the good points and the bad points about this type of a fire. I've gone through most of the good points. It's very hot. You don't have to tend to it after it's lit, and it will burn through for a good 2 to 3 hours. Now, the bad points about this fire is the fact that it does burn very, very hot. Not great for things like cooking, campfire cooking and stuff like that. And for having just a small fire with a gentle heat, it doesn't do well in those situations, obviously. Yeah, and the other bad point is there does take a lot of work at the start. So if you're kind of getting into camp and you want to get set up quick, you want to get a small fire on quickly, this isn't the fire for that either. So as with everything, there is good points and bad points. So we're just about approaching an hour and a half now into this burn, and it's quite an intense heat coming out of this now. As you can see there, one of the logs just sort of tipped off. You know, you may from time to time have to come and sort of put those back on again or whatever, but other than that there's not much maintenance to the fire once it's going. I didn't put any extra on that at all at any point. The only thing I done was tapping back little bits fell off, might have put them on again. When you use dry wood with this, it is a hot fire. If you were freezing cold, this is exactly what you would want here. I had mentioned earlier on in the video that I was going to do a bit of an experiment or comparison. I'll tell you about that now. So yesterday I came here and those wet logs were part of that experiment, where I built up this fire and I done the first 3 layers with wet logs, and then I done the top 3 with dry stuff to see would it have enough heat to dry out the wet ones and keep a burn going, but keep it going longer. I had seen a number of videos circulating stating that you can use wet logs in an upside down fire and it's a good way to make it last longer. So I thought I would put that to the test. I was a bit skeptical about it, and when I done that test it kind of confirmed my suspicions. So at this point here we're about an hour and a half into it, and you can see how hot it is there. I'll compare that with the footage from yesterday of about an hour and a half into the burn with the wet stuff, and there just is no comparison. I mean, this is so hot that I can barely put my hands even near it or even stay here near it for any length of time. So we're now around 2 hours into this fire and it's hitting the bottom layer there now, so I would say by around 3 hours you'll still have a fire, but it'll be well down, just like a normal little fire. But that's pretty good. That's a solid 2 hours of heat there you're going to get out of that with with very little work, to be honest. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Give it a like if you like it, and we'll see you in the next one.